The ninth challenge is to help India become an alternative to China. This is very important because there are two superpowers in Asia and eventually in the world. One is China and one is India. Of course, China has done better than India because it is not a democracy, because at the top you have a autocratic government, a dictatorship that is able to impose, a six-lane to expropriate people, to do an airport, to do a dam. No, in China they can expropriate 1 million people. They have no regards for human lives. So in that way, China has progressed better, but India is actually a better alternative to the West as an economic and as a political investment. Firstly, of course, economic. In the long run, India will produce better results, better benefits for Western investors because all the separatisms, all the problems have already come to the surface. We know the problems India is facing. Whereas in China, the moment that autocratic cover, will be taken off for a reason or the other, all kind of separatism of problems or social upheavals will happen in China, and it will jeopardize Western investments. At the moment, Westerners are investing 10 times more in China than India. But it's a huge mistake. I mean, it's a lack of understanding, lack of vision. In the long run, it is much better to invest in India than in China. So I've been saying that to my readers, for the last 20 years, but so far, it does not have a great effect. So it's important that you emphasize again and again in Western Forum that India is a natural economic and geopolitical partner of the USA and the rest of the world. Because India is a democracy, it's liberal. People in India are pro-Western. You see, people in China, Westerners would do business in China. No doubt it is easier than doing business in India at the moment. But they always say, the Chinese are people, difficult to understand, and friendly often. Whereas Indians, have shown, especially Hindus, have shown that, they can adapt to the West, they're friendly, they're open, they're pro-Western. So it's naturally, it's a better destination for investment than China. It's a grave mistake. Already India's PIB has overtaken the Chinese, who are going to face a lot of economic difficulties more and more. So you should tell your Western friends that they have to at least half their investment, half in China, half in India. This is a good bet. This is the way a good casino player plays. He puts half and half. But they're not doing it at the moment. Now, the other point is that India is a natural ally of the United States and Europe in Asia. Why? We already saw it with the Spratleys Island. The Chinese have a huge thirst for conquering new territories, for imposing their will on people. We saw that they did it in Tibet, They got Hong Kong. Now they're going to get sooner or later Taiwan. They're claiming huge parts of India like Arunachal Pradesh. They're seeking to control the maritime routes, the navy, the sea routes between China, and the Indian Ocean. And for that, they've taken control of the Spratleys Island, which do not belong to them. And this been protested by the Philippines, Vietnam, Japan, even Malaysia. Now, the United States have begun to understand that because they're becoming closer to India because of the Spratleys Island, because of that threat, on the sea routes which are used for petrol, which are used for cargoes and ships. So there is a closer association between the United States and India, military. But the rest of Europe has not understood. They're blind. They're absolutely blind. Now the Chinese want to do that new Silk Road that goes over Himalayas through the Pakistan-held Kashmir. It's a threat to India. They are saying that it's an economic investment, but I think it's a way of controlling the world. They just want to dump all their goods on the world and find a route, that jumps the Himalayas, and use the Gwadar port in Pakistan, and from there by road and rail and ships, goes all over Europe. And India has rightly protested that. So, it's very important, that you tell your friends that India is a natural geopolitical ally of the West, and the West should understand better the problem that India faces in Kashmir, for instance, which belongs to India for the last, 5,000 years, which was a place of, where Shivaism was born, where Buddhism, it was, at some point, it was a Buddhist place, and then it was brutally conquered, and people converted, and those who were not converted were forced to, to flee and become refugees in their own country. So we need to talk to the West. We need to tell them that they need to invest more in India, both economically and politically. Finally, the last challenge for Hindus, for Indians, is to spread happiness in the West. Now, as I said in the beginning, India is a land of knowledge, the last living knowledge in the world of who I am, why I am, what's happened to me when I die, why am I reborn again, what is karma, what is dharma. Now, there are tools for this knowledge. Already we've seen that Hatha Yoga has gone all over the world. Swami Vivekananda predicted it in his speech in Chicago in the World Religion Meet, that, our knowledge, will cross the oceans and will come to you, and it has happened already. So this knowledge, under the form of Hatha Yoga, yoga of the body, has already gone. Now pranayama is going thanks to Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. Meditation is going thanks to many gurus, who have shown that meditation is a very practical tool. Ayurveda is also going, Ayurveda, the oldest medical science, which is still in practice today, which knew much before, it's become fashionable to know in the West, that many illnesses have a psychological, psychosomatic origin. They originate in the mind, that, plants and minerals are the best medicine, those with the least side effects, The Ayurvedic surgeons used to do, plastic surgery, 5,000 years ago, on the nose, for people who had deformities. So it's important that you help carry this knowledge, because it brings wonderful results. If you practice pranayama, and I've been practicing pranayama for the last 25 years, it's changed my life and the life of my wife. Every morning we do half an hour of pranayama, and we find it gives us a better mind. You start the day with a quieter mind, which is so important. You have a better energy. You are more centered. In the evening we do meditation. I do, Surya Namaskar every morning, at least 10 Surya Namaskar. So these are very precious tools, for people, for everybody. This knowledge belongs to everybody. And Hindus have known that. They have known that for many, many centuries, that this is a universal knowledge. The whole world is my family. So it's very important that you help propagate this knowledge, and that the Hindus, help shed all these prejudices which have been harming their image. So they can not only contribute to the world's economic growth as they have done for several decades, but also once they participate more intensely in the political power, be recognized as a distinguished community, as a separate community, with an honored identity. Once the Hindus learn how to unite together and how to face these 10 challenges, no doubt, they'll earn the respect, the respect and the love even of the entire world, starting with the United States. So it's very important. And in conclusion, I would say every sixth person on this planet is a Hindu. And Hindus still constitute the overwhelming majority in India. Nearly 80% of the population in India. Humanity needs thus to rediscover the wonder that is Hinduism, the oldest spirituality still in practice in the world. It is also true that Hindus must rise to the challenges of the second millennium. Namaste.